To have the other conversation that seems to be, interestingly enough, and contradictory to what we might have thought the pandemic would have brought our way with real estate, is that the real estate market is on fire. Every week we highlight something with the real estate market, and we think it's important that we continue to do so because there are people who are hoping to find a forever home or get into the real estate market and are finding themselves incredibly frustrated. John Mallett is America's mortgage coach. He's joining us now via Skype this morning to talk more about this. Good to see you, John. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity. Great to be here.
Let's run down through this. I want this to be a segment where we can hone in on the specifics of what a buyer deals with when they're trying to get a house and there are many offers coming in or they don't jump on it quick enough. Is there any one strategy that works in any situation?
Well, I think that it needs to be custom tailored. It really depends on what I call the hot button of the seller. It depends on number one, do you have an ironclad approval going into the offer? That's really important. And the other one is to make sure that the real estate professional representing you as the buyer can really find out what's going on in the seller's head. Is it important for the seller to have a waive of the inspection contingency? They may not care about that. They may care about saying, hey, we want to know if this deal is going to be approved, and we want to know in 10 days instead of 17 days. So it's really incumbent upon the real estate professional that's representing you as the buyer to be able to get in there as soon as possible on the listing when it comes on the market and say, what's important to the seller? What can we do to make this deal happen?
Okay, on that point, I want to circle back to some of the specifics of the offer, but on that point, in a market like this, in my experience and from the friends I have in real estate, to be aligned with a realtor who is connected to a large office gives you the benefit of knowing about listings before they actually make the MLS. And that runs counter to this whole movement of never working with a realtor. You can sell your house on your own. You can find a house on your own. You can use an attorney to negotiate the deal and get a credit back on the commission that the realtor would get. Don't you think that's a mistake in this kind of market?
Oh, no question about it. If you don't use a real estate professional, you're shooting yourself in the foot. There's no way. Right now, you need somebody who knows the terrain. They've got to be able to put the deal together and be able to talk confidently to the listing agent. The realtor, the real estate professional representing you as the buyer, has to really have their act together to be able to know what needs to be done to make this deal happen.
And again, if you can get with an agent who you know is entrenched in an office and can bring you what's known as a pocket listing, then you may be able to have an advantage. We hear a lot about cash offers. This person is making an all-cash offer. It sounds appealing, and it may look appealing, but I've had both sellers and agents tell me that it's not always the cash offer that is the accepted offer. And it's not always the highest priced offer that's the accepted offer. Does that provide a little hope for that buyer out there who believes those two things are an encumbrance?
100%. It all depends on the seller. If the seller wants to leave what I call a seller's legacy in the neighborhood, then they're going to say, hey, I'm more interested in who's buying my house and who I'm leaving behind rather than getting the highest price or getting a deal done by a cash offer. There are so many opportunities if the real estate professional can hone in onto the things that are important to the seller. And they can do this. I mean, we have deals that are 3% and 5% all the time that get accepted, and they're ironclad approvals. It's also important, as the lender, I call the listing agent and I say, hey, once the offer is made, these people are well qualified. What do we need to do to put it on the top of the stack?
I'm feeling a little bit like the climate is similar in some ways to 06, 07 leading up to 08, and that so many people are feeling this pressure to buy, or they may never have another opportunity, or they may be priced out. Are you better off right now to get into a home where you might feel you're settling for less than you deserve than to sit it out?
That really depends. It depends on your goals and what you think the market's going to be doing. I mean, I think that prices will moderate at some point. I also think it's balanced by the fact that, you may get priced out of the market. If prices continue to rise, you may not qualify now for what you want. So it might be a good idea to go after it. It really depends on what you're most comfortable with. If all you're doing is chasing a house and you know, it may not be the right time for you.
Yeah, yeah,
It really has to do with what's going to be the payment, and are you comfortable, and can you responsibly buy the home so that you're not going to have to worry about, you know, the anxiety of making the payment all the time.
Yeah, or getting into a bidding situation where you let your emotions get ahead of you and you pay more than you should and you regret it later. John, thank you so much. Appreciate your insight. I want people to read your book as well. Buy your first home today. Empower your life. Build your wealth. Own the home of your dreams. He's an expert, a speaker, and an author, and we're so glad he was able to join us today. You can check out johnwmallett.com.
Heart palpitations thinking about trying to find a house right now. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the advice. And we'll be back with more Morning After right after this.